So welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are going to be cleaning the 20-gallon marine tank that I have. I actually got a couple things floating here that are acclimating into the tank. I currently have a blenny that is acclimating inside of a shell because for some reason he likes to live in there. And then I also have a hammer as well, acclimating to the water conditions. So the premise of this video is to talk about how much money I have put in estimate into this tank from startup to about now. So let's get started. So let's talk about the first thing, the tank. The tank was a 20-gallon tank that I had that now houses all of the fish that are in my 40-gallon tank in there. The 40-gallon did get a little bit more fish into it eventually, but most of the original crew are still alive and in the 40-gallon tank. I also got that tank half off from Petco for, I think it was about 30-40 bucks. And now let's talk about the water filter. The water filter on the back is actually a Marineland 200 series. It was originally intended for the 40-gallon tank, but it made too much noise, and I always wanted a canister filter for the 40-gallon tank, so I eventually upgraded that one to a Fluval 307. And when I moved it onto the saltwater tank, I figured once I move it onto it, it's going to move a little bit more water than it should, but with it being a marine tank, it's actually best for it to move a lot of water because the ocean moves around millions and millions of gallons of water a day. So that moves us into our power head. The power head is a Higer power head. It's actually nestled between the rocks. I hid it so that way there's not so much stuff going around in the tank, and you mostly just see the actual tank environment itself. With the water filter, I want to say I spent about 70, and then with the Higer power head, I want to say I spent about another 20, maybe 30 bucks. Again, I'll share a little screen grab of what I actually spent on these tanks. And then the light is a Higer light. It is their marine product one. I think I spent about 70 bucks on that. But if you actually do want to get your own Higer products yourself, there will be a link down in the description below where you can actually pick up your own Higer lights, where you'll actually get codes and discounts. I think it's $1 off every $10 you spend, which if you're buying aquarium products in bulk, it would be really beneficial for you to get that. But small little plug, I am sponsored by them now, so. Now we can kind of talk about the livestock. The livestock in the tank is going to be your most expensive part of the tank. For both of the clownfish, I spent $30 in total. And then all of the corals, I couldn't begin to tell you how much I've spent on them. I've probably spent about 100, 150 on all of the corals in total. The sand, I want to say it was about 30 bucks, but it all just depends on when you buy them. You can get them on sale. I got them from actually my local aquarium shop near me called Atlantis in, I think it's Clawson, Michigan. So I highly recommend going there and talking to Dean. Dean is amazing. His store is amazing. He always has great deals on fish, and he's always looking to help out everybody else that's in his community. So I highly recommend going there. But I actually got my sand from there. I got some live rock from there. I got my shrimp, my fish, most of my corals. I got a majority of the livestock that you see in the tank I actually got from him. Let's talk about the sponge that you see me using here. and the scraper that I was using before. They're both Seacom products. The Seacom scraper actually allows me to replace the blades. So if the blade ever goes dull, I can always swap it out for a new one. And then the sponge itself is abrasive enough where it won't strip any of the glue in the tank. So it's really good at getting the stuff out of the corners of the tank, like the seams, all of the coralline algae that'll grow there, as well as the like hair algae or some blackbeard algae or black hair algae, whatever you want to call it. It's very good at picking up that stuff. This vacuum or suction, whatever you want to say here, the siphon here, this is honestly like a $10, $15 one from Petco. I was actually gifted this by my family. The 10-gallon shrimp tank that I have was actually my family's tank. They didn't want it anymore, and that housed the first fish that I got when I moved into this apartment. Steve, he was Steven. He was a pretty cool little king betta fish, but king betta fish that are bred here in the States are not good fish whatsoever. They're just plagued with diseases, and they're known to not really last for a long time. If you get them from Thailand, where they're actually not bred for profit in a sense, they're bred for like beauty, then it's a different story. But when I got this, I haven't upgraded it because there's no point to. I've just kind of used this siphon for only this tank, and then I use an Aqueon for all of the other freshwater tanks, so that way I'm not really contaminating each one with tap water. So I actually siphoned out more water this time than I normally do, only for the fact that I noticed that the salinity was actually higher than normal. It was around 34 parts per million or trillion. I can't remember what the reading is that's actually on the salinity checker that I have. So I drained a little bit more than I normally do, and I started topping off with my RO water and then coming in later with the salt water. And here I am checking again just to be safe that I'm in a good area. The power head will actually move the water around and mix it a little bit better. Same with the filter. The other thing I picked up is the frag rack. I picked that up for about, I would say, $30 on Amazon. It's magnetic, it sits on the side. It'll actually help with all of the frags grow in the tank. Eventually, I do want to take down the 10-gallon aquarium and turn that into a frag tank, or eventually upgrade this 20-gallon saltwater tank to a 40-gallon tank, and then turn this one into the frag tank. So any sort of frags that I make or that I take and purchase and try to grow out, I want to put them in there, so that way when I go move them in here, I don't have just frags inside of the tank. I actually have, in a sense, perfect looking coral, and not just sitting on a piece of like plastic / ceramic disc. Again, we're checking the salinity here, so that way we know exactly where we're at, if I need to add in salt water or if I need to add in more fresh water. I noticed that poor little guy got knocked over, so I'm just going to fix him, put him back in his little position. And then I've got the clownfish just nipping at me. It doesn't hurt, it's just always not expected, so it's always like a jump scare, like, oh, whoa, gosh. it's just a funny feeling. So I didn't really like where the salinity level was at in the tank. I think it was still hovering around 31 and a half, so I just topped off the rest of the tank with salt water as well. And then you know the deal, guys. Whenever you add more water, you want to make sure that you top off just a little bit of beneficial bacteria as well. So we're adding this Smart Start cycle into the tank, about 1 capful for this tank. So we're going to measure that out, add that in. Then we're going to go in with some Seacom Clarity. Again, this one's a capful too for every 20 gallons. And then there was some of the corals that were in the tank that were just knocked over. The zebra snail that I have loves just coming through, plowing over literally every single coral that's in this tank, and then I have to come back later and then adjust them. So I'm just burying the bottom of this bird's nest that is still attached to the actual piece of plug, just burying that plug down into the sand and hoping that that'll actually stay in there. Then the zoa flower that I had as well was knocked over too, so I'm putting that piece back in there. And then I'm taking the crab that was on the zoa flower and I'm just removing him. He was, I think, picking at the coral, but not 100% positive on that. So now let's get to the estimate of how much I actually spent on this tank itself. So I would say in an estimate, I spent around $403 for just everything that I mentioned. That's not including all of the chemicals and all of the water that I have to buy. I don't have a RO water filter in my apartment, so unfortunately I have to buy salt water and RO water from Atlantis as well. It's about $1 a gallon. So about every week I go in and get about 3 gallons of each, and that's like $6 a week for 4 weeks out of a month. That's what, $24? That's not that bad. So personally, would I start a saltwater tank again? The answer is 1000% yes. I love my saltwater tank, and I've actually started to like my saltwater tank more than I actually like my freshwater tanks, only because you get a lot more vibrant colors instead of just a bunch of plants in your tank. So at around $400 to fully start a saltwater aquarium with just what I have, I think is a great deal, especially for a beginner just trying to get into the hobby if you just want a 20-gallon tank to start. So if you guys have any comments or questions, please leave them down in the comment section below, and I'd love to answer them. If you guys liked the video, please actually like the video. And if you didn't like it, let me know in the comments as well. I learn every day in the hobby, and I always make mistakes. So if you do see a mistake that I'm making, call me out for it. I would love to know where I can improve, so that way my content can improve for you guys, and you'll be able to actually enjoy it a little bit more. If you want to see more of content like this, please actually subscribe, and I'm going to try to get back on my normal uploading schedule. I do want to do a video on the 20-gallon tank of everything that I invested into that as well, and I might do it on the 1,000 subscriber tank and the beta tank as well, if that is something that you guys are interested in. But as always, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I hope to see all of you in the next one. And enjoy the rest of your day, your morning, or your lunch, or whenever you guys are watching.